One second. Echo Fan Grey Wolf here. I'm recording my TikTok live, and this is about martial arts, and we need to learn how to disagree or agree to disagree and get our egos checked at the door. So, I got my computer plugged up this time, so now I can go for as long as I freaking want, or until the machine gives me the finger. I'm gonna try to invite you in, brother. No promises. Cause this damn my fucking cell phone's booty, man. It doesn't let me invite anybody. But feel free to stick around. I will try to read opinions and shit, because I know I'm not the only one. I might just be the only one that's willing to say it, because I know I need my ego checked too, and I own that shit. But a lot of us martial artists on social media, we don't check our ego. We really. I guess I better turn this a little bit. We really do not check our ego. We do not check our ego. We like being right even when we're wrong. I'm guilty of it. I'm mostly guilty of it when it comes to BJJ, but only because I suck at it. But I own the fact that I suck at it, and I know that as far as ranking and structure, I hate the belt system. I'm a product of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and the ways that we had to get belts helped me back, which is why I don't have a belt, which is why I also don't believe in the belt system. And a lot of people, y'all can have that shit. I'm not going to condemn you if you believe in the belt system. I'm not going to fight you on that shit, because every school is different, and we're all martial artists, we're all adults, we all have the ability to agree to disagree, and a lot of us don't check ourselves before we get up online and start spewing shit. I spew my shit. Not gonna lie about it. If you check out my YouTube channel, the things I've said about BJJ will piss off people who do BJJ. But these people also don't understand that I learned a military version of BJJ, and I sucked at it. But I have been fighting since I was 6 years old. So there's not a lot that you can tell me as other martial artists. There's not a lot that you can tell me what works and what doesn't work, because I'm 5'3". I have to make everything work. Understand that shit. At 5'3", I'm the biggest target on the planet. If I need a job, nope, we're not going to hire you. You're 5'3". You propose absolutely no threat to anybody. So as far as being a bodyguard, being a bouncer, they left me right out of the building. Literally left me out of the building. The only place where my height did not matter was right here. That's the only place where my height didn't matter. That's the one job I got where my height was not a factor, where people's like, oh, well, you're 5'3". We don't have soldiers under 5'1", which is bullshit. I met a soldier who was 5'1". Hell, I met a soldier who was 4'11", and it was a dude. So, in the military, they don't discriminate on height, man, and it took me forever to get in the military. I'm proud of what little bit of service I got to do. But the fact, as martial artists, we tend to jump on certain bandwagons. Especially bandwagons where we haven't studied that style, all right? I didn't want nothing to do with BJJ when I got in the Army. There's just one fucking problem. You don't get a say. When it's GFT time and the martial art is BJJ, you're going to learn it. I learned BJJ in Delta. When I was in Bravo, we did Taekwondo. I already took Taekwondo, so it wasn't going to be hard for me to just, fall back into it. And at 37, I was in a lot better shape then than I am at 48, and I've never been in better shape in my life than when I was in the Army. Never. And I'm going to get back in that shape or I'm going to die trying. I just got to get motivated to start doing more push-ups, because I've been slacking. Y'all can tell when y'all see my belly on YouTube. Yeah, I've been slacking. I've been slacking like a motherfucker. Life has gotten in the way. I got a grandfather that just passed. His funeral is tomorrow. I'm probably not going to attend it. But shit happens, man. My stepfather's in the hospital, and last week was the beginning of all of that shit. But enough about that, because we're here to talk about martial artists and checking our ego at the door. Like I said, I own my faults. Let me get this damn plug thing out of my pocket. I am as guilty of insulting BJJ as anybody is as guilty as insulting any other martial art. And when I make these lives and when I actually do martial arts and I do my bound fighting and shit that people have never seen and I don't get any follows or views or whatever, it's fine. I know what works, and I tell people, if we're gonna do bound fighting or blindfolding, that shit's movie shit. Granted, I got the training, but in real life, where the fuck are you, or what the fuck are you doing, where someone has to tie your hands up, and you gotta fight for your life? Now, in old school capoeira, the slaves did it in chains. In modern capoeira, no one trains that way. But I was trained with my hands bound since I was like 12 years old, because you just don't know. And that's why my foot game is a little bit better than my hand game. Now, because of my hip, couple of car accidents, bad back and shit, I don't fucking try to do none of that shit I could do in my 20s because I'm fucking 48. There is a limit to age. Kind of sets you back a bit. It really does. I didn't think it did when I was younger. I thought I would never really get old. And then your body and your mind go in two different directions. Because your body's like, we're going to attempt that shit, but you're going to pay for that shit later. And your mind's like, shut the fuck up. We're going to do this shit because we've been doing it for so long. Not so much. Because, your body and your mind, they don't always function hand and foot. It doesn't always work that way. As you get older, when you hit about like 40, I probably would still be in great shape if I didn't have a hip replacement at 42. But that was military connected. If you stay healthy, you can probably run your body until you're 60 if you stay healthy. And that means healthy diet, healthy workout, healthy everything. Like no smoking, no drinking, shit that don't belong in your body. Don't put it in there. And your body will probably hold up for a very long time. It just depends on you. And also, if you practice certain martial arts skills at certain parts of your life, you'll unlock certain joints, you'll unlock certain mobilities, you'll be able to function better. That's why there's guys in China that's like 80 years old that's doing Tai Chi, but they also can fuck your shit up because you don't know that Tai Chi is actually a fighting martial art, and you just think you see this shit. When the fucking hands, ground on feet, and then you see this motherfucker push you with a butterfly strike, and yes, the butterfly strike is a real thing. You'll see them push you with that butterfly strike and your ass fly across the room. So you have to understand that your body is your temple, and you have to treat it as such. Now, to stay on topic and to stay on track, a lot of us martial artists, I'm guilty. I'll say it first, I'm guilty. I have been guilty of saying, Kung Fu is better than karate. And there are a lot of people who do karate who says, no, karate is better than Kung Fu. But the problem is, which style? Because there's thousands of fucking karate and Kung Fu styles. And then you gotta also remember, like, the big three. I call them the big three, so if you're Asian, please don't get offended. But the big three, most martial arts come from the big three. China, Korea, Japan. Alright? Those are the big three. But you do get martial arts in Mongolia. You do get martial arts in Laos. You do get martial arts in Vietnam. I didn't know about it, which is why I didn't study it. But the big three, China, Japan, and Korea, most of my martial arts came from there. I didn't know about Kali until like 2 years ago. So, probably 3 years ago within the next couple of months. But I didn't know that the Filipinos had a martial art. I didn't know Indonesia had a martial art. I didn't know Malaysia had a martial art. Most of my martial arts are Kung Fu based, and they come from the big three. And then I studied a little bit of capoeira. Now, here's where shit gets a little bit twisted and funky so that y'all understand. I study means I have dabbled and been taught by certain people certain shit that I need so that when someone whips out this arsenal on me and they start doing capoeira, I know enough capoeira that I can beat people who do capoeira. But I gotta beat them to the punch. And that's that thing. A lot of people will not say that. If you don't beat them to the punch and they get rolling and they do capoeira, they're gonna fuck your shit up. If you are doing BJJ, if that some bitch gets you on the ground and they get rolling, you tap it. Whether you want to or not, it's not an option. You tap it. I suck at BJJ. I know that if I'm rolling with somebody and they get the rolling, they get me in a heel hook or a toe lock or a fucking on my belly, but it's a Fujiwara or a Yuganagi, all the shit that you do in standing jiu-jitsu, what I actually don't suck at. But, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, they're going to eat my ass up. So I'm not going to let them get me on the ground. Because they are most dangerous to me when they're on top of me.
they might be most dangerous to me if I'm on top of them too, if they know what the fuck they're doing. And what I was taught in the Army was, you can fight on your back. You can fight on your back, you can fight on top of the person, you can fight under the person. You just need to be focused and well-rounded in your shit. I suck at BJJ. Like, totally suck at BJJ. This damn thing's not letting you in, man. But, don't walk in this facility. There shouldn't be any crap because I clean most of it up. Other than the back of Miss Walker's yard. Sorry about that. Doo-doo animals. But yeah, you know, if you suck at something, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that you have to learn how to make sure that art that you suck at isn't the art that beats your ass. Alright? If anybody's watching the dude BJJ, don't take that shit personally. Alright? Because I come at BJJ all the time. I don't come at artists specifically. I come at the arts. Because there are things in BJJ that you can eliminate a person from using BJJ on you. And I made videos about this shit. Nobody likes it, but you can reference it. And if you don't reference it, go watch a couple of UFC videos, but listen to what I say before you do it. Alright? So you know you have your side mount, your top mount, top guard, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and control. And my only question to BJJ guys is, why don't y'all ever use your fucking knees when that guy's on top of you trying to take the arm? He's on top of you, and you're in a fetal position. Your knees are right there at their body. Boom. Bring that knee into a rib. I don't know if it's against the rules, but in the streets, if you got me on the ground, you better believe you're eating a fucking knee. But for me, personally, I'm not letting you get me on the ground. If you're going for a single leg or a double leg, I'm going to give you what you want. An ass whooping. I'm going to put my knee through your chin or your throat or whatever I can reach. If I can't prevent that, which in some cases you won't be able to, because let's keep that shit real. I'm 115 pounds. Well, 125 pounds. I got to keep my weight between 130 and 125. So I'm between 125 and 130 pounds. But if I can't stop you because you have more strength than me, when you go in to tackle me, I'm bringing my knees into your chest. Because that's my main defense. And when I bring my knees into your chest, I'm clapping my elbows onto your spine. It is probably an illegal move in the gym. Ain't no such thing as an illegal move out here. And it's the same thing I said in my videos that led to this. There's a policy that I follow. None of y'all have to follow. None of y'all have to believe it. But I'm going to state a fact, and you're not going to like it. If you are any kind of martial artist, this will be the one thing that will probably piss you off. If nothing else I say today pisses you off, this will be it. I live by a 70-30 policy. 70% of every martial art that you learn only works in that dojo. That other 30% only works out here, and 9 times out of 10 is something basic. It's something simple, it's something basic, and it will keep your ass alive versus you trying to match somebody fancy for fancy. I want to let you in, I just can't. This stupid cell phone won't let me let anybody in. No. God damn it. Let me try and go get one of those pin things I got to push the button, because I can hold my thumb on this sumbitch till the day it goes into hell, and it will not let me let anybody in. So, I mean, it's just it's technology, man. Shit's not my friend. Hold on. I'd have been here faster if I was a superhero. So we're going to try both of these. They're probably not going to work, but, you know, yeah, this motherfucker ain't working. This motherfucker ain't working. Yeah, see, these things, man. Okay, let's just confess. It's because I have a fucking Android. I'm never going to get rid of my Samsung. But, yeah, I can't even roll this shit. Yeah, howdy. Anyway, you know, like I said, I'm guilty of shit. I'm putting down BJJ, and it's only because I suck at it. And when you suck at something, you don't really want to learn it. You know, you think about it, you find ways to avoid learning it, and then you're like, I really suck at this shit. fuck this shit. This shit sucks. And it sucks for me because when I was in the Army, they put me up against the biggest guy in the room. He was every bit of 300 pounds, and I couldn't get the motherfucker off. You know, they teach you the Cclamp. Y'all see my hand? Because you put your arm around the person, his arms are here. You put this arm, his two arms are here, and he's in a chokehold. And you put your arm here and there, and you're supposed to roll him over. I couldn't roll him over. I could not roll him over. I tried. I couldn't roll him over. And the second that the drill sergeant blinked, I put my head into his shit. I headbutted the fuck out of him because in real life, this dude would have been and killed me. It's just that simple. He's 300 pounds. He's sitting on my chest and my stomach. It's not easy to breathe when somebody's sitting on you. It's also not easy to focus on breathing when somebody's punching you in your fucking face. You understand? If they're sitting on you and they're boom, 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 and they're holding you down, dude, this shit here, that ain't working. Because if I don't have both his hands before he gets one up and starts punching me in the face, we have a fucking problem. His transitions were great. And I guess it would be more hard for him because I'm small for him to get like side mount and shit. But he transitioned good, but I just wouldn't let him grab my arm. I was like, nope. Yeah, nope, fuck that shit. You gonna earn this shit. And he could never really pull my arm apart, but he's 300 pounds. He started leveraging his weight. I'll roll with that shit. It's like, we're not teaching you that. And it's like, I'm not letting this dude break my arm. If I roll in the direction that he's pulling it, he's not gonna break my arm. No. Now, when the shit was reversed, and I tried to get side mount or whatever, just threw my little ass off of him like it wasn't shit. No. So I started understanding how this fucking shit works. All right. To be a martial artist, there's quite a few things that you need to take into consideration. First thing, you gotta understand body mechanics. Second thing, you gotta understand how fights work. Probably want to put that in reverse. You probably want to understand how fights work first. Then you want to understand body mechanics. Certain people's bodies don't do the same thing as your bodies, but we're all basically created the same. You know, sperm, egg, fingers, toes. However, each of us have a different, unique skill. Like the 540 spinning tornado kick. I can't do that shit. If you ever seen Only the Strong, where Mark Dacascos does that fucking, I guess it's a 540 or a 900 degree spin where he's like this, but he's horizontal and he's spinning through the air and he kicks the guy in the face doing capoeira. I can't do that shit. You know, the Paul Mitchell team, they do it all the time. I can't do that shit. You see people do it looks like they're gonna do a butterfly and it turns into the spin kick. I can't do that shit. But I also know one thing for sure. If I'm fighting someone who can, I'm not giving them the chance to do that shit. You understand? Because this is how fighting works. You have to understand, if you give somebody enough space to get that shit in, they're going to fuck your shit up. They're going to close the distance. But see, that's a fancy finishing kick. You will never use that shit in real combat. You will never use that shit in real combat because real combat lasts 3 to 5 minutes. If you get into a fight tomorrow, I promise you that shit's not going to be like in the movies. It's not going to be like you take a hit, I take a hit. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be you take a hit. If you go down, you stay down. If I go down on top of you, I'm going to keep you that way. Now, adrenaline is a thing. And adrenaline can either increase your strength and your consciousness, or it can all be shut down with a good hit. So if you got like a glass jaw, and I hit you with my tiny ass fist and my tiny ass body, you're going to sleep. But if you got a steel jaw, and these are boxing references for anybody who don't know what the fuck I mean. If you got a steel jaw, or iron chin, if you're a wrestler, you know what an iron chin is. If you got an iron chin, you know, that shit ain't hurting you. I have a lag, so if you guys miss anything, Kung Fu have it too. We'll have it if the internet at the house works, because this isn't live here, but this is live. So, but you know, you gotta understand how body mechanics work. You gotta understand how fighting works, and you gotta know one thing if you don't know anything else. Your fighting experience is everything. If you've only been in one real fight in your life, but you spent a lot of time in competition combat, it'll even out. But then you gotta remember, in competition combat, they have molded you to pity pat your opponent instead of actually, you know, fighting Yeah, they've taught you rules, so they taught you, you know, tag your opponent, tag your opponent. I got to go get a new battery. My battery's blinking. See that blue line blinking? So yeah, you know, it really depends on your teaching. If you are taught properly, you're gonna understand competition fights are like this. Real fights, you only hold back on kill zones. You know, you don't hit someone square in the throat, you don't hit them in the sternum, which is actually a contradictory for every video that I make. Because in every video I make, I tell you exactly what I told you just now not to do. I'll quickly tell you, I'm a small guy. This is my target for you. If you were bigger than me, I'm going to collapse your windpipe. Because the bigger you are, the harder I have to hit you. Not I get to hit you, I have to hit you. Because this 125-pound body ain't got the same strength as somebody who's 200 pounds. It does not have that. I can't lift weights anymore because of my hip. You know, you have to take care of your body. So I'm going to be a little bit scared, maybe slightly intimidated, but I like that because it makes me fight better. All right? And then you do have your flight or fight response, which can go anywhere. And then there's freeze, and you don't really want that. But, you know, you have to be able to steel yourself in every fight. Now, as far as, like, UFC and stuff like that, you know you have rules in there. So you can't eye gouge, but people do this shit anyway. They poke a motherfucker in the eye. That's how they win, because they know they're not really good fighters. So they just gonna poke you in the fucking eye. And then if the ref doesn't call it, you know, you're in there like this because you're in pain. If you ever been poked in the eye, I promise you it's not something you want to re-experience. If you have been poked in the eye is what I meant, but if you haven't, it's something you really don't want ever. Because it's so easy to blind a person and blind them for life, which is why that shit is not legal in the UFC, but people do it anyway. Watch those fights. While we're on that topic, when you watch somebody do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and they're on side mount, and they're not giving knees, and they're struggling to hold the arm because the person on top mount or side control is trying to reach that arm so they can hyperextend the elbow. I never see anybody roll with the pull and try to flip the position. I never see anybody roll and try to put their knees into the ribs of the person holding them when the guy's on top, or when they roll and get on top of the person and they're still fighting to keep the arm, because all that person really has to do is get that arm free from this arm, and they're going to take your shit and make you tap. But while you're fighting, why are you not doing this? You know, because I'm going to need the shit out you. I don't give a fuck. All of this shit right here, depending on what side of your body I'm on, you're getting that shit. And if I'm closer to your head, like up here, and you're pulling my arm, but I'm closer to your head, I'm on top of your body, pulling my arm to keep you from pulling my arm, oh, you eating some knees. I don't care. Legal, illegal, I don't give a fuck. You pulling my arm, boom, boom. You have 4 appendages. If any martial artist, teacher, is not teaching you that you have to use all 4 of your body parts, while I'm checking my battery, if you don't have the ability to use all 4 of your body parts, your left hand, your right hand, your left foot, your right foot, and then the other 4 parts, your elbows and your knees, you need a new teacher. I'm sorry. You may not like me for that, but you need a new teacher. If your teacher is not investing in you and making sure that you are up to speed with the rest of the students, you need a new teacher. I'm probably pissing off a bunch of martial artists right now, and I'm sorry, but I'm 48. I've learned these shits the hard way. If a teacher is not willing to invest to make sure that your tornado kick or your front round kick is as good, if not better, than everyone else, he's just taking you for your money. He needs to literally, if you got 7 kids in class, and 3 of them are sucking ass, those 3 you pull off to the side. You get your top student to work with the ones that's working, and you work your ass with the ones that's not. And you bust their ass with that shit, and you train them so that they can keep up to speed. A lot of my teachers didn't do that. Alright? And a lot of teachers that I have equestered trying to get black belts by letting me fight their top students have laughed me out of their dojo. And I have told them, I was like, look, if I'm paying you $150 a month, or if I'm paying you $500 for the like 3 months or whatever, because you know you got $150. Every school is different. My school, when Mr. Enos was alive for Taekwondo, it was $250 every month, or you could do $500 for 3 months or some shit like that. It's like some really fucked up math shit, but I was paying them. But I couldn't get a belt. I can't do katas because I was never trained in katas. When I first started learning karate, I learned freestyle karate. There were no fucking katas. There was, this is how you hit, this is how you punch. This is how you kick, this is where you kick. That's what I learned. We trained actual combat type martial arts instead of start here, chop, knee, forearm. No, we ain't do none of that shit. We took fighting stance, punch, punch, switch, punch, punch, switch, switch hands now, punch, punch, switch, knee, kick. We did that kind of shit. That's the training we received versus the shit that a lot of schools I went to after didn't teach me shit. You know, when I was taking Kenpo, Kempo, versus Kendo, I was literally taught the same shit. I was not taught katas. So when I started taking Taekwondo, I didn't know what the fuck a kata was. Never heard of it. And there's a bee somewhere around me. I can hear the son bitch. I can't see the son bitch. Okay, found him. He's up there. Yeah, just go away. Anyway, whole point being made, I wasn't taught katas, so I didn't know katas. I couldn't get a yellow belt because I couldn't do Tosan or Tangu. When he switched from Taekwondo to Naharate, which is like the Japanese version of Taekwondo, I still couldn't get a kata because the katas got more complicated. And we were supposed to make like this bird's eye view and an ice cream scoop, then do this, and then another ice cream scoop, and then somehow you got an X block, and this, and then a punch, and an ice cream scoop, and a punch, back elbow. It had me all over the place. But if you had a camera on top of the building, like looking down at us, I would have to make a fucking like Star of David type movements. Man, I couldn't do that shit. But when we had sparring, nobody could touch me. Because that's how I was taught. And then, like I said, every school teaches different. Every school has different policies. Every school has something to offer, but they also have something that they take away. I'll be right back. I gotta go get a plug so I can plug this thing in. I'm sorry if I'm boring y'all or whatever, but you know, life lessons, man. Sorry, these things aren't easy to find. I know this thing has a lag. And that's preventing that. Okay. This is either going to be really right or really wrong. Or I'm going to get the shit shocked out of me, one of the two. Okay. Good, that's working. You can see the little circle. Sorry, I wasn't expecting this thing to go that long. But martial arts is my passion. It's my life. I don't want people to get screwed going into martial arts. And if you're going to be a martial artist, you need to be an honest martial artist. You need to understand how people's bodies work. If you're going to teach it right. And take note from other people. I always tell people, be well-rounded. Don't just get stuck in Kung Fu. I like Kung Fu. I love Kung Fu. I love Wing Chun. I love Wushu. I don't know enough Northern or Southern Shaolin, and I don't know enough animal styles, but I can recognize the animal styles, and I can use the animal styles on people who do the animal styles. That way they can't whoop my ass without me putting up a fight. Didn't say they weren't going to whoop my ass, just that they can't without me putting up a fight. Alright, so if I'm going against someone who does mantis, and they're doing it this way, this is a totally different mantis from what I learned. Because I learned it, both hands are here. If I'm going against tiger, that doesn't change. Eagle doesn't really change. Dragon doesn't really change. Snake, some people open, some people don't. Crane is supposed to be closed, but you have to understand how this shit works. Every time you come against someone who has studied a style, they have adapted that style for their body mechanics. You're not going to agree with me, and that's fine, but the truth of the matter is, you're not going to break into Crane or Wing Chun and do forms when you get into a fight. You're not going to sit here and go, you're just going to go right here. Woo. Keep going, B. But you're not going to do that. You're going to get into your standard fighting style. And if you do Wing Chun, you can go into a standard southpaw style versus a standard style. It really depends on who teaches you what. Now, when you get home and you practice that shit, it's your turn. It's your turn to live outside of the box. It's your turn to not be stuck with what the school tells you have to do, and you have to get your shit together. Try again. I don't know why. Still won't let me do it. I don't know why this shit doesn't work. I really don't. It pisses me off that the more I try to let people in, the worse this shit gets. Maybe there's like policy or something. Because I have over 1,000 followers, but I can't let anybody in. And I don't know what it is. I'm pretty sure it's my cell phone. It's got to be my cell phone. It could just be the fact that I'm stupid, but it's got to be the cell phone. But, the thing is, man, and I'm sorry if I've ignored any questions. I'm really sorry about that. But yeah, shit. What is that? Yeah, my connection is absolutely shit. It is, but I'm in the backyard, so, there's nothing I can really do about it. Again, anything you miss will be on my YouTube channel, because that's still recording. Believe it or not. It's not live, but it's still recording. It's been recording for 32 minutes and some change. But, I would love to have people on. I just fucking can't because of technology. But, with martial arts, man, we all have to do our part. As an older martial artist, I got to make sure I pass some wisdom down to the younger martial artists, even though most of them are probably going to give me the finger and tell me I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about because I don't have a belt. And the thing about that, a belt really is just part of your uniform. It don't mean you can beat anybody's ass. It just means that in that school that you're in, you have rank. And the people in your school are supposed to respect you because you have rank. However, I am guilty of not respecting a 13-year-old kid when he might have been 12. He was younger than me, and he had a green belt towards my white belt. But he also let that belt go to his head. And that's another thing about belts. Belts tend to bring out the worst in some people. And I'm not saying it's everybody, but I had this 13-year-old kid at the inner stairway. He's probably like maybe 28 now. Maybe younger, I don't know. No, he's probably a little older, but he's probably a lot wiser now. And he would say things to me in the school because he knew that Master Enos would let him get away with it because he had a fucking green belt. And he got a blue belt right after that. Before we moved from downtown to Grady Avenue, he had a blue belt. And eventually they moved him into a higher class because I was getting ready to kick his ass. I was about to prove the one point that most martial arts schools don't want you to know. That belt means nothing. It is a ranking and control system, which, again, I'm probably pissing off every martial artist working here that has worked hard for their belt. I'm not saying that you didn't earn the belt. I'm just saying that belt means nothing specifically to me. That's my opinion. Y'all don't have to like it, but it's the truth. And a 13-year-old blue belt threatening me with all kinds of stuff. I was like, well, I've been in this school longer. I'm a blue belt. You're a white belt. You're 16. I'm 15, and I can tell you whatever I want, and you'll have to do it because that's the way the school's set up. And I got quite a few times telling him, I will kick your ass, because I could kick his ass. He's a blue belt. He's 13. I'm 16 years old. I'm a white belt. I've been in more street fights than this motherfucker has ever had in his life. You know, because I've been fighting since I was 6 years old. And I tried to explain to him, if I take you to my neighborhood, a kid that's only been watching Power Rangers can beat your ass. He's like, how you figure that? I said, because we po. Not all of us can afford to go to a dojo. So their first experience of martial arts is on TV. And I've seen kids who've never had a day in a dojo beat somebody's ass who's been in the dojo. Not me, but, I've also been one of those kids that's beat somebody's ass before I ever got into a dojo. Because I watched a lot of fucking kung fu movies. But I learned my first tornado kick from watching the Ninja Turtles. Because no teacher would teach me. No teacher would teach me. I would beg and plead, and they were like, nope, we're not going to teach you tornado kick. I said, okay, fuck it. Somebody's going to teach me at some point. That somebody happened to be whoever the fuck played Raphael. I watched that shit over and over. I like I'm watching myself now. I literally rewound that damn tape. Rewound that tape. Rewound that tape. And after I watched it about maybe 9 times, I said, you know what, I'm going to go try it. And I tried it, and I didn't fall. So I tried it again, I didn't fall. And then I just added it to my arsenal. Then I had to learn when to use a tornado kick. Because you can learn all the moves you want, but you need to know when you're going to be able to pull that effectively and not get your shit fucked up. The way I learned the reverse tornado kick, I owe that all to Brian Genesis and Billy Worth. Because, again, no teacher would teach me. After I showed the motherfuckers I could do it, then they wanted to start honing in on teaching me how to do it correctly. But here's the problem. Body mechanics. My shit will never be as perfect as Michael Worth or Brian Genesis. They played on 2 TV shows. I'm going to reference them to you right now. Billy Worth played on Acapulco Heat, and Michael Worth played on Acapulco Heat. He always wore the American flag pants. Brian Genesis played on a TV show called Street Justice. Alright? Now, why did I want to take Kenpo? We go to, what the fuck is his damn name? He was Ed Parker's student. Jess Beatman. That's why I wanted to take Kenpo. That's why I started taking Kenpo. Because I was a Jess Beatman fan. So, that's why I started taking Kenpo. As for Brian Genesis and Michael Worth, I was fans of them, but they were they weren't like Herb Perez. They weren't like the Olympic champion, which I can refer you to. Most good martial artists came through WMAC Masters. Mike Chat, if you follow him, he came from WMAC Masters. I believe he was Wizard. God damn it, now I can't remember his name. Larry Lamb, he came in as Warlock. I might be getting their characters mixed up, but I don't have their names mixed up. Mike Chat has a long fucking name. But Google him, and you'll see his shit. Larry Lamb, Google him, you'll see his shit. Hosan Pak, they were all champions. What the hell was her name? Mermerchin Rodriguez, I can't think of her fucking name. And Hakeem the Machine, Willie the Bam, shout out to Willie the Bam, he lives right up the road from me in Washington, D.C. So, and he does wushu. So, hey, these are things that make you want to go and learn these martial arts by following other martial artists. And then there's the dark side, which I may seem to be on the dark side, but it's only because I'm giving you guys reality. Alright? I have to give you guys reality because the reality is that nobody wanted to give me the reality. And fighting, you really got to learn how fights work. Fights don't work like in the movies. They don't last 10 minutes. They don't last for the commercial break. You get hit, and somebody's going down. Somebody might lose a tooth or something, but somebody's going down. You might start leaking. If you're hit right, you're done. If you hit right the wrong way at the right time, you really might be done because somebody just unalived your shit. And you have to understand, you need to teach the students the good and the bad as well as the ugly with martial arts. And a lot of people aren't doing that. 20% of the people that we are all following are leaving off a whole bunch of shit. I don't come on there. I don't get on their channels. I don't shoot them out. I don't jump on their shit. I just let you know that certain styles and certain martial artists that we follow don't teach all the truth. I've said that shit. You can go check my videos. You probably can't check any of my lives, but you can go check any of my videos on YouTube where I've literally said that shit. I never call out a martial artist. I've never called them out, but I have talked about there's a difference between stand-in jiu-jitsu, which is the shit I learned, versus BJJ, which is the shit I fucking learned in the Army and I fucking suck at it. Standing Jiu-Jitsu's got a lot of grips and locks. If you're real good at grips and locks, standing Jiu-Jitsu is going to beat Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Why? Because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you got to get me on the ground. Now, you don't necessarily have to get me on the ground, but it works better if you get me on the ground. Where regular Jiu-Jitsu, I can work from standing as well as on the ground. And that's the thing. That's the combo that made Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu become more popular. But see, here's the thing. Jiu-Jitsu is an offset of Judo. Or Judo is an offset of Jiu-Jitsu. I learned Judo probably mid-80s. I learned Jiu-Jitsu probably mid-80s. I switched over to Kung Fu before the 90s even got here. Because somebody was teaching me karate and it's like, you need to convert to Kung Fu. And I was like, what's the fucking difference? And really the only difference is, this is a karate chop, this is a Kung Fu chop. Why did the karate chop have more, where the Kung Fu chop didn't? The Kung Fu chop is direct. Where the karate chop works on power, the Kung Fu chop works on directness. Now this is a karate strike, your hands are closed, boom, alright? This is a Kung Fu, specifically more in the basis of Wing Chun, where you close on impact. You know how hard that is to practice and then try to remember that shit when you're actually in a fight? It's damn near impossible, because you get into a fight, you're going to be thinking, boom, and close on impact. You ain't going to remember that shit. And the best advice I can give you is, fuck that. Fight like this. Switch your stance to a Wing Chun stance. If you want to open one, close the other, because this is how I do it, so I can block and I can strike, or I can block and I can strike, and you have to understand how this shit works, because if I'm sitting here and I think for a second, then I'm going to boom and close on impact. Watch. That's it, not going to happen. The fighter that I'm fighting ain't going to allow that shit to happen. If I'm at home training, boom, 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 okay, I'm at home training. You understand the difference? Training. I'm at home. I'm training. I'm in a real fight. My hands are solid. And now this is where I switched from Wing Chun to Kenpo, because I was taught knuckle strikes in Kenpo. If somebody's throwing a jab out, boom, I'm going to hit the jab. I'm not going to try to block and hit them in the face, which is Kung Fu, but I can just strike the jab. Now, I don't recommend you striking the jab. I know what I just said. I know it makes me sound like a hypocrite, but you got to understand your training versus my training. Smart person, you can break your hand if you throw a punch too hard. So if I hit the jab and I break your hand, good for me, especially if I don't break my own fucking hand. But if I'm fighting someone who's more experienced than the average Joe, I'm not trying to hit that fucking jab. And when it comes to fighting, you are going to know someone's fighting experience the second that they hit you. You're going to know that shit. You're not going to know while y'all bouncing around talking shit. You ain't going to know shit. When that motherfucker hits you and you can get back up, you know what you're going to have to do. The problem with that is he's not going to stop with that one hit. When that one hit nails you, they're going to keep coming. So your ass better know how to cover the fuck up. Not this block, but these blocks. You got to teach your students the difference. When you're in the dojo and you step back into this block and then that counter punch, or you step forward in that counter punch, you tell them, that's the dojo. When you're out here in the street, this here, you ain't doing that. You're doing this. Block, 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 block. You're doing that because that's going to be a whole lot easier than trying to step back and do this shit. Alright? And a lot of teachers, they don't do that. They do not do that. I'm sorry for not rolling this thing up. I know you want to get in. I want to get you in, but I just can't fucking get the stupid technology to fucking function. No. It for some reason, it will never let me let people in. If I didn't want to let people in, this bitch would work. No, it's done that to me before. But the thing is, when it comes to it, let me read that. Yeah, connection's still shitty. The thing is, as teachers are responsible for what happens to their students in the dojo, slightly responsible for what happens to their students out of the dojo. And the reason why I say that is because you can't control somebody's mouth. Alright? You can teach them how to fight. You can teach them how to beat people up. You can do that. It's not what
you're supposed to do, but you can teach them. The words you're supposed to use is, you can teach people how to defend themselves, but you can't teach people how to shut the fuck up. Alright? Hopefully I made that clear. You cannot teach people how to shut the fuck up, because a lot of people, they get these belts on. I'm a belt. I got a black belt. I got a brown belt. I got a red belt. I've seen red belts and brown belts get their asses handed to them by fucking blue belts in the same goddamn martial art. Which goes back to, you know, slow and steady sometimes wins the race. But, you know, when you get out here in the streets, that belt ain't gonna mean a goddamn thing. You know? Hey, Brianna. But the thing is, you also have to be taught what to do out in the streets. And I teach people, like, the tree technique and stuff, and I can't even let Brianna in. That sucks. For some reason, it won't let me let anybody in. And I know all of y'all are martial artists, which makes it even worse. But the thing is, if you're going to teach somebody, you need to teach them how to survive. You need to teach them that everything you're teaching them in the dojo isn't always going to work in the street. But they need to learn how to make the shit in the dojo work in the street. Therefore, that's 70-30. You know, that's 30% of the shit you learn in the dojo. Your basics are going to save your ass. Your show-off shit, not so much. And for everybody who relies on weapons, you know, like your bow staffs and shit, you don't live in the Wild West. You're not going to walk down the street with your bow staff all the time. You know, you might, if you go into a dojo, you know, you might. In the collapsibles, you know, you might. But in reality, you probably won't. You know, I'm pretty sure everybody watching right now, when they leave home and go practice, is that Wade? I think I saw Wade. If it is, hey Wade. If it's not, hey Wade. But if you're not being taught proper use of your skills, or if they're not working your skills, and if you're not going home to add extra practice, extra time to your skills, you're going to find out what works the easy way, because it's not going to work when you need it. And like I said, 70-30. This, dojo. This, home and streets. Why do you change it up for home and streets? Because here, when you're in the dojo, you know, they touch your center line. What they forget to tell you is that when you're in a fight, your center line is always shifting. It's shifting when you step, and so is your opponent's. Your opponent's center line is shifting just like you're shifting. And you're going to have to match that sumbitch on some level or another. You're going to have to figure out how you can get past his defenses. Because if you throw a right jab to my left side and I block, I step this way, I got more options than you than if I step and block this way. This is where Kung Fu and Karate differences come in. So this will be very important for you Karate cats versus us Kung Fu guys. And Kung Fu, I was always taught, get to the outside, break, strike. In Karate, I was always taught, block and counter, which opens them up for a block and counter. I ain't got time to be countering you all day. I'm 48. So I'm going to block, break, and strike for Kung Fu. Now, there's other ways for Kung Fu to work also, but this is a bad make. If I block this way, I can break it, but I left myself open to your other hand. Alright? Because your body's right here, and my body's right here. So if I block this way, I'm eating one to the face. You're not just going to let me block and break unless I'm exceptionally fast. I'm only so fast. So if I block and my whole body just turned to your body, you got my arm. You know? So I do this, and you did this. So now you see where you're at. So you're right here. I got a left hand. Boom, boom. You're trying to break this. Boom, boom. I'm trying to break you. You know? And you're going to need to learn that the oddward mistakes, and these things happen all the time. Because you can do a big block, you know, the big round block when someone's throwing that punch. But you need to be able to put yourself in a position where you can continue and they can't. With Kung Fu, when you block, they got to work across their body to get your body, where in Karate, not so much. Because if I block this way and I got both my hands on your arm, you're going to feed me your free hand or your feet.
You know, and these are things that you need to catch when you're in school. When you're sitting in school and you got to catch these things, you got to understand how these things work. For Kung Fu and Kenpo, it's an easy combo. You know, I can block and I can strike, or I can block and I can break, and I can do the things that's necessary versus I block and I just stepped into your left hand. You know? So you have to understand that skills change. And this leg is incredible as I watch it. It's so fucked up. But skills change. And skills change per person and per environment. Depending on who you are fighting at that time, you are going to have to adapt. And if you cannot adapt in a fight, you're taking a nap in a fight. Remember that. If you can't adapt in a fight, you're taking a nap in a fight. So people remember nursery rhymes like that, you know. Adapt or take a nap. You know, they don't exactly rhyme, but they make sense. You know, or as they say in the TV series Vanishing Son with Russell Wong, shout out to Russell Wong, he who hesitates meditates from the horizontal position. All right, so you need to be aware of these things. Know that you can be knocked out. Don't think that you can't be, because somebody will knock your ass loopy if you're not careful. Learning how to take a hit should probably be day 2. You know, because day 1 they teach you how to block. Day 2 they should probably teach you how to roll with a hit. So if someone's coming with a right cross, it's going to be on your left side unless by some miracle you were outwardly standing and they sucker punched you, then it would be here. But if you're in a fight where you see your opponent and they're throwing a right cross or a right hook, it's coming to the left side of your face. So if you want to do Kung Fu, you want to block and break and strike. If you want to do karate, you want to block and counter. The only problem with the block and counter is they have another hand. And they also have feet, just like you have feet. You will figure out the combinations that work for you, but your teacher needs to make sure that you know how to use them. If a teacher isn't taking the time to invest in your ass and correct your mistakes, you need a new teacher. I'm not saying the teacher is bad, I'm just saying the teacher's not aware. He'll be aware, though, when those payments stop coming in. Because then he will definitely be aware. Why'd you stop coming to class? Well, my kicks aren't looking right, and you're not taking the time to help me adapt and adjust. And I'm sorry, the ice cream truck's around here somewhere. But, you know, if you're not taking the time to help your students, what are you doing? And most of us students are too scared to question our teacher. That was one of my mistakes with Mr. Enos until I stopped going to Mr. Enos because I started getting broke. And I had to make a choice. Pay my car payment, do Kung Fu, well, Taekwondo. And I have a mom who was riding my ass about making car payments late. So I had to give up martial arts for that little bit of time. And in that little bit of time, I went to other dojos to try and get like other skill sets. I was pretty much thrown out of them because they didn't like my hardcore attitude, which hardcore attitude can help you in some cases. In some cases, not so much, but respect is supposed to be both ways when it comes to martial arts. If you go into a dojo, you bow, you greet the sensei, and the sensei is supposed to respect you until you disrespect him. I didn't have that because every time I tried to question a sensei, it was get out my dojo. Not please get out, it was get out. Now, the only dojo that I didn't have that problem with was God damn it, the one with the number 3. I can't remember the name of the song, bitch. But 3 Emperors. 3 Emperors also, because that guy's part native. That's why we connected, because he's Cree and I'm Cherokee. It's like, yeah, you know, a lot of dojos don't view shit the way a lot of people should be viewed. But if you're gonna take a martial art, you're gonna need to know quite a few things. First, you're gonna need to check your ego. When you go in there, if you've had martial art training, wait till the class is over, especially if it's a free class, and then talk to the sensei and see if they can like train you from your level. And if this goes to senseis, this is the part where I piss off every martial artist watching. I'm going to piss y'all off, so let me apologize now because a lot of people don't like the truth. Alright? Are you ready? Here we go. You can't untrain me. Regardless of it's a new style or whatever, you can't fucking untrain me. I've tried. It does not work. You have to train me from the level that I'm at. If I am beyond black belt level, you need to teach me at beyond black belt level. You cannot start me day 1 white belt. It does not work.
This is the mistake Mr. Enos made with me in Taekwondo. Because I've had martial art experience. I've had fighting experience. I just didn't know shit about katas. So day one, we're going to teach you katas. No. You're going to teach me how to kick. You're going to teach me how to punch. You're not going to teach me no fucking kata. You're going to teach me what I need to know to earn a belt in this class. And if earning a belt means kata, I'm never going to earn a belt. Because I never learned katas until I took Taekwondo. That sounds fucked up. But again, Generation X, we did things differently. We did things very, very differently. And also, if you have teachers who are of different ethnicities, they teach differently. Master Enos was not Japanese, but he was raised in Japan. He wanted to do everything the Japanese-American way versus the actual Japanese way. Alright? He taught shit the way he wanted to teach. It was his school. There's nothing I can do. I'm paying the man. But at that same time, he came down on my ass a lot. He came down on me for not giving the 13-year-old respect. I respect that he came down on me for that because I did just say, gotta check our ego at the door. However, he never caught the 13-year-old threatening me. It's like he paid that shit no mind. You know, he never caught the 13-year-old telling me, I got a green belt, I got a blue belt, I'm gonna beat your ass, I'm gonna beat your ass. He never, ever, ever caught that fucking asshole doing that shit. But he always seemed to walk out when I retaliated. And he'd be like, yeah, I got this green belt. I'm going to bust you up. And about the time, this kid has been talking to me like 5 minutes now. And I'm like, you know what? I'm about to wrap this belt around his fucking neck. That's what's about to happen. And as soon as I stepped in, what y'all doing? And this kid give Master Enos the puppy dog eyes, and I'm doing push-ups. Don't even get to explain what happened. I'm doing push-ups. This happened about 25 times before I left his school. Because I'm like, you know, there's a respect level, and then there's people who play with their power or abuse their power. This kid abuses power every chance he got. Every fucking chance he got. And Master Enos just let that shit ride. Now, unfortunately, Master Enos is not here to defend himself because, again, if you were in my live earlier when I was getting my taxes paid, I mentioned that Master Enos committed harikari or seppuku, depending on which Asian dialogue you speak. So, I never got to go back to the school and stay in the school because the jerk that was running the school was a big-time jerk. That's not the words I want to use. But he was a jerk, spelled ASSHOLE. And I'm an asshole. So, two assholes can't function in the same spot. And before I had left, before Master Enos had committed seppuku, he asked, what would I do to improve my school? Why are you going to ask somebody who asked you if he could fight for his belt against your best to get his belt? What would he do to improve your school? And that's exactly what I said. I said, I would allow people to fight for their belts. I would allow people to know that everything I'm teaching you when you walk out my dojo is going to fucking work. It's not going to be some cookie cutter shit. Yeah, we can put on the pads, we can put in the mouth guard, we can put on the fucking helmet. We can go all out. You can even put on the damn vest. But I need to know, when you walk out my dojo, if you are a young lady or a young man, and you walk down that street, and someone decides that they want to fight you, not mug you, not try to rob you with a weapon of any sort, but just want to go hands up with you, that everything I taught you in that dojo is going to save your ass, and it's going to work. No. And if I teach you something that's not going to save your ass and work, I need to fix this problem. So if it's not field tested, how you gonna know it's working? No. You can field test it in tournaments, but you can't field test it in tournaments. I know. That made me sound like the biggest fucking hypocrite. But think about what I said. You can field test it in tournaments. There's a problem with tournaments, which is why you can't field test it in tournaments. There's this thing, let me spell it out for you, for all the martial artists that I just pissed off. RULES. Rules. You're not field testing shit in a tournament. You have, so much you can hit somebody with strength-wise and power. And that shit needs to be controlled and precise. If you're doing kata forms, you don't have to worry about that because you're not fighting anybody. But if you're doing combat, if you're doing sports karate or sports taekwondo, you know for a fucking fact, you cannot go all out. Even though you're padded up,
You can't go all out because there's fucking rules to prevent that shit from happening. So you can field test it to a degree of, I can pull this tornado kick. Will it work? Sure, if that shit lands. What happens if it doesn't land? Or the guy sees it coming a mile away. He's been studying you, so he knows you do 3 kicks and a tornado kick. So he's going to bait your ass in, and you go for that tornado kick and you're on your back. Because you weren't paying attention. Like I said, you can field test it to a degree. But see, when you get out here, you can field test it in training, but I don't recommend you trying to reverse tornado kick anybody. I don't recommend you try to tornado kick anybody. I damn sure don't recommend you try to jump and spin kick anybody because you're in the air and you're vulnerable. If you have to fight anybody, you stick with basics and you keep one foot on that ground at all fucking times unless someone's foot sweeping you and they caught your other foot. Now, I will say this, against my better judgment, so you can like it or not, and I will apologize before I say it. The 180 and the 360, they do work. I have field tested them. I do not recommend them unless you have no choice. Now, for those who don't know what the 180 is or the 360, I'm going to reference you to a couple of martial artists and actors that you can go watch these films in. Also, wrestler. The main wrestler that I'm going to recommend that you go watch, his name is Jeff Hardy, because he's done a 180 and a 360, and he's done a complete somersault shit with the shit, where the guy catches his foot and he goes over, but he turns it into a flip while he's doing the 180. Now, the best person to watch for the 180 is Brandon Lee in the movie Rapid Fire. He does it very well, and I believe he's going against Al Leon. Now, for the 360 and the 180, and you want Super Flash, you want Ernie Reyes Jr. in the movie Surf Ninjas. Go Google them. Go watch them. There will be a specific scene. If you know what a 180 is, you will see it. If you know what a 360 is, and everybody's watching this is probably martial arts, so y'all know these goddamn kicks. If you know what those kicks are, when you see Ernie Reyes Jr. does it, and when you see Brandon Lee do it, you're going to fucking know. Now, Ernie's fast. Ernie's fast as fuck. And he's a year older than me, but he was fast as fuck. And he nails that goddamn 360 like it ain't shit. But he doesn't stick the landing. Brandon, who's also older than Ernie and I, he nails the 180. I don't know how many times they had to rehearse it with the stuntman, but he nails the 180. It's done when they're in the museum at the beginning of the fucking movie or wherever there's a Chinese gathering. So, again, for reference, Rapid Fire, Brandon Lee, Ernie Reyes Jr., Surf Ninjas. So if you go watch those, you will see all those kicks that I just named. Now, another great reference, I haven't seen him do it. He may have done it in Crying Freeman, which would be Mark Dacascos. So you definitely want to go check his shit out. And if you want to see the whole spin circle doohickey, then you want to see him in Only the Strong. You only need to watch the last part of it so you can see the entire spin. It's also at nighttime, so it's an awesome ass kick. Yuri! Go back right now. 1 second. Yeah. I'm almost done with my lab. Don't forget that gate doesn't exist. You might want to drop that bag and go get her. Sorry, y'all. Puppies. Well, she's still a puppy. She's like a year and a half old. Anyway, the whole point being is you want to be able to use the shit that you are taught. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but you don't want to fucking be stuck in a situation where nothing works. You know what I mean? Now, before I end the live, because the leg's like totally fucking up, I was taught how to hurt people with this one little finger by a Green Beret when I was 16 years old. The same person that taught me how to unalive somebody with a spoon. So I will tell you that, you really want to know how to use what works. When I pull out these unconventional weapons, like pins and stuff, it's because I was taught how to use them. And you need to know where to strike versus how to strike. Alright? Now I know that sounds a little fucked up, but see,
if I ram this pin up your nostril, see how long that is? That's a direct line to your skull and your brain. And I could probably do some really bad damage with this thing if the pin actually had the tip, you know? So you have to understand that anything you touch as a martial artist becomes a part of your skill set. And if you're not being taught that, then you probably want to invest in getting more than one teacher. Not saying that having two teachers is bad. It's only bad if you're doing old school Chinese Kung Fu where they prefer you only have one teacher. But here's the thing. The advantage of being an American is that you get as many fucking teachers as you want. You just got to pay them, you know. And if you can pay them, then you should be able to use what they teach you in the best of intentions. Now, I have to catch myself every now and again because I tell people how to hurt people when I should be saying how to defend yourself from being hurt. I just keep that shit real. I just keep this shit real because martial arts is honestly, truly the guide. It is not a means to an end. It is a way of life, and sometimes you may have to hurt people to keep from being hurt. My only fear of my martial art is what I will have to do to someone to prevent them from hurting me. That's it. And I know that a lot of the shit that I do is not going to work in the streets. It's not. But I also know it depends on what that person on the other side of that battlefield is bringing to the table. If I'm fighting someone who does capoeira, I'm going to try to out-capoeira this motherfucker. But if I know that I can't, then I have to find a martial art that's going to match capoeira. And the only martial art that I know from Chinese martial arts that can match capoeira is Drunken Master. And there's Drunken Monkey, but Drunken Monkey's not my cup of tea because my legs don't work. But Drunken Master is my cup of tea because my hips still work a little bit. And a lot of the sway works like the Jenga. So you have to figure that shit out. But you know, you really gotta focus, and you have to have a teacher that is going to teach you. You have to have a teacher that is going to invest in you. That means if you call them on Saturday and school is closed, but they're willing to either come to the dojo so they can teach you or let you hit the bag or whatever, or come to your house and give you private lessons, that's a teacher. Now, they probably won't do it for everybody, which would be why the dojo would be open on Saturday so that everybody can come in. And that way you can have Freestyle Saturday and you can make sure that everybody gets their moment. And if you have master students, because I haven't been to a dojo yet that doesn't have top students. Now, there are some out there, I'm sure, but I personally have not been to a dojo that does not have, you have the chain of command. You have the main sensei, and you have his underlings and his proteges and all that other shit. And those are people he have been teaching like fucking forever. And you're new, so he'll come in, introduce, talk, and then your first class might not even be with the actual first sensei. It might be with one of his underlings. And it really just depends on the school structure. But if that teacher does not check in on you while you are in class, and you've been in class for like 4 months, and your sidekick still sucks, and if he sees all the other kids, they're just barely touching the bag, and the bitch is flying. But when you touch the bag, and you are barely touching the bag, it's not going anywhere. And you have to keep hitting harder and harder, and you're getting bruised up, and you're getting tired. He needs to correct that shit, which means he needs to spend time with you and correct you so that you don't keep fucking your shit up. If that teacher's not willing to invest in you, you may need to find another teacher. Now, I know how this works. Some of you are probably going to disagree with that, but if that's the only teacher in town, then you're going to have to adapt, which means you're going to have to work harder than anybody in that building. You're going to have to go home and find a way if you want to stick with that shit. But that's another reason why people often quit martial arts too, is because their teachers don't give them the time that they give money for. You know what I'm saying? They don't give you your worth. And I'm going to keep going on my Instagram. On my fucking YouTube. It's already 108 minutes past, 109 minutes now. But I'm going to stop the live because my phone, for some reason, is not getting power. So, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to continue on my Instagram, and I will post it hopefully between 8 and 11 o'clock. Just depends on the day. But that being said, I'm Echo Fan Grey Wolf. Thank you guys for watching. Brianna, I'll catch you at Donna's if I'm alive. And my grandfather's funeral is tomorrow. Probably not going.
That's the reason why I'm picking it up.
Okay, let me cut that off. For some reason, the cell phone is not gaining any power, so that's why I ended the live. If you are here from my TikTok live, thank you for coming. So I'm not going to be on here much longer because I'm already past the hour mark. I do not know how long YouTube videos actually go now because some of them go for hours, some of them not. But I want y'all to understand, man, I'm not here to put down the people who do martial arts. I'm here to make sure that if you're going to do martial arts, you're going to get your fucking money worth because martial arts are not cheap. And I'm also going to let you in on a couple of secrets. One, if this bee doesn't come over here and strike me or whatever, you need to go, buddy. It's up there. I wish I had something I could throw at it that wouldn't cost me money. Hold on. Well, I don't know where it went, but me and that bee just had a WWE moment. Anyway, you're taking a martial art. You need your teacher to be invested in you, not just in your wallet. If you are the weakest person in class, and I don't mean that in a mental capacity, I mean that in a physical capacity. Because you're only weak in the mind if you allow yourself to be weak in the mind. Strong mind will build a strong body. Unless you have like physical debilitating injuries that you just can't ever heal from. Or if you have stress fractures, or you have brittle bone syndrome, shit like that you can't really get any cures to. But you can find ways to work with it. As most martial artists will tell you, you have to learn how to adapt. If you do not know how to adapt, you will take a nap. So I'm gonna break it down for you like this. This is a side kick, low angle. Alright? For you Taekwondo people, y'all know the drill. Low, back, medium, high, which I can't go anywhere because this hip doesn't allow me to work. But if I can't do this properly or this properly, the sensei should be coming behind me and saying, alright, put your kick out. Alright, now he's going to adjust. Alright? He's going to adjust me. He's going to make sure that my shit's right. Alright? Put your kick out here. Knowing my range of motion. The sensei, a good sensei or seafood, depending on which martial art you're doing, if this is as high as I can kick, he's going to teach me how to fight with this kick. No. If this is as high as I can kick, he's going to teach me how to fight with this kick. And then he's going to have a chat with me. Alright? And we're going to say that the chat's going to go a little bit like this. This is how the chat's going to go. Alright, Echo, you have a bit of a mobility issue. What do you want to do to fix it? Now, see how I said that? What do you want to do to fix it? I'm going to work with you so that we can fix it. But if we can't fix it because it's genetic or it's biological or it is medical, then we are going to teach you how to fight with it versus ignoring the problem and continuing to let you struggle for weeks on end. Because some people don't have good range of motion. They don't. It does not mean that they are not good fighters. It just means they have to adapt to their range of motion. You see what I'm saying? You just see me do some low angle kicks. This hip no longer works. So it doesn't allow me to do what I used to do. I have to adapt to that shit. When I get out here and I show you guys videos, and I will probably make another video tomorrow, or maybe not tomorrow because tomorrow's the funeral. Maybe after work, I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll sleep on it. But you've seen my other videos here. You've seen what I do. You've seen what I can do. You've seen how much I fucking talk too much. But if the sensei isn't willing to teach you how to fight with the range of motion that you have, then they need to be able to teach you how to adapt so that you can at least get there. But again, if it's like a hospital physical, debilitating injury that you cannot fucking change. He needs to teach you how to adapt so that you can fight with that, and that way you can survive. Because if I'm paying you $250 a month or $500 for every 6 months, see, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, so that's 250, 450 right there. So 250 plus 250, that's 500 for 2 months, and then you got another 250. So that's like almost $800 by the time you get to 5 months. If you're paying me that, you better bet your sweet ass Saturday's Freestyle Saturday, and I'm gonna be there. Because whatever job I have, unless I'm like acting or whatever, I'm going to be there. If I'm not there, you better believe that my ace in the hole is going to be there. And they're going to work with you because you're paying for the rent in the building to stay on and open. So you need to get your money's worth. And the senseis need to understand that shit. If all you can do is knees, I'm going to teach you how to work your knees. I'm going to teach you how to adapt. I'm going to teach you how to use your knees. I'm going to teach you what you need to do to make sure that that $250 that you paid me on Monday goes all the way until you see me on Saturday. And yeah, let's say you only take 3 classes a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Oh, you're coming to Saturday. Unless you have a job that you need to be at work, or unless you have family trip or some shit like that, you're going to be there. And if you aren't going to be there, your responsibility as a martial artist, I'm sorry about the helicopter or the plane or whatever the fuck that is. Just the plane. The plane, boss, the plane. Sorry, I couldn't resist that. But if you're not going to be able to make it on Saturday, you're going to tell me on Friday. I'm going to ask you, how late can you stay on Friday so that we can address this problem? So when you go on wherever you're going on Saturday and Sunday, you have to do one thing and only one thing that I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to give me 10 minutes of your time to practice. I'm going to say, I will set up a time, and I'm going to call you. Now, I don't have FaceTime on my shit, so you can be lying to me, but I'm going to call you and ask you, are you working on your shit? Because I'm going to set my alarm. When I tell you what time I'm going to call you, I'm going to call you on that time. So I'm going to set my alarm on that phone and say, look, on the calendar, I'm going to set it for an hour before I call you so that I know that I'm supposed to call you. And I'm going to call you. And I'm going to say, hey, look, are you working on your high knees? And you could be laying on the bed doing an egg roll. It'll still work your knees. For those who don't know what an egg roll is, you get in the fetal position and you roll back and forth because that stretches out your hip and it brings your knees to your chest. And it's going to be able to help you stretch out your knees. So then when you get where I am and you're standing, there. Now, as you can see, that doesn't go to my chest, right? But the thing is, when you're on the bed and you're laying on your back, they will go to your chest. So you can egg roll. You know, tuck your hands between your legs and roll. You know, I know it sounds really fucked up. It doesn't sound like a martial art thing, but trust me, that shit is going to help you with your flexibility to your legs. Now, you may have to do it for 10 minutes and then you can stop. And if you're going to honor that shit, well, I'm going to know it when I see you on Monday. Because I'm going to ask you to, you know, knee. And then as you are kneeing, while the other class members are doing their thing, I'm working with you, one-on-one. And I'm going to tell you, I want you to knee my hands. And I'm going to raise my hands higher each time. We're going to start low level, bring it up, bring it up, bring it up. And if this is as high as you can get, that's as high as you can get. And we'll do that for like 2-3 weeks because I have you for fucking 3 days out of the week. Saturday will always be optional. If you want the shit to work, I want you in on Saturday. It's going to be up to you from there if you come on Saturday. You know? So let's say you come to class 10 minutes early every day. That way the class doesn't know that you aren't like on their level. Because I'm not about embarrassing people. So let's say you get here 10 minutes early or you stay 10 minutes late. I'm putting that work in because you're paying me. So you need to put that work in as well and focus on what I tell you to do. You know, so say you want to be able to do a jumping knee, but you got bad ankles. So we're going to have you go talk to a doctor about ankle exercises. Why are you going to talk to a doctor? Because I'm not one. I can teach you how to break an ankle. I can't teach you how to strengthen an ankle. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be that guy, oh, just start walking around with ankle weights. Let a doctor tell you that. Let a physiologist person that does like, that damn bee is back. Let somebody who works in the physical realm of exercise tell you that, you know what, this motherfucker got to go. Sorry. That go very well. Taken down by a bee. Anyway, you gotta go to a physician, physical therapist, and they're gonna tell you what to do to strengthen up your ankles. All right? I'm not gonna be able to do that because I'm not qualified for that. You understand? I am not a doctor, so I can't do that. I'm qualified to teach you how to break somebody else's ankles, but that's gonna take time for you to be able to throw the proper kick, or they're gonna be able to throw the proper kick, and you're gonna have the right timing to knuckle strike and lock. The same thing you would do for your knee. If you're going to break somebody's knee, you're going to do it for the ankle. It's no difference. You're just moving to a different body part. You know? And if you are investing in my wallet, it is my job to invest in your training. Because just like you, if you don't want to be there, I don't want to be there. Because I don't want to waste my time. Because my time is important. But your time is important because you're putting your money into that shit. And you're putting your money into that shit, that person that you're paying needs to put their investment into you. So like I said, you come to class 10 minutes early, you got 10 minutes before everybody gets here. And I can book you into shape. Then when everybody get here, you get in line, I go through the drill, and you pull me off to the side after, like, look, I need another 10 minutes on this. You gotta get out what you put in. And you won't get out anything if you don't put anything in. And I ain't talking about money, because I'm that guy, honestly. I only wanted to make movies. So, pay attention. I only wanted to make movies so I could teach Kung Fu for free. My first 3 years of karate was free. And the person who did teach me karate, they lost their business. And they shut down. And I don't know what happened to them, and I don't even remember what it looks like. But I know I was 7 years old, and it was at Murray Steaks. It's the building that was Murray Steaks. 3 years of free karate. I wish I could remember what the guy looked like. And I could thank him. But I do know that he invested in us, you know, and it was free. I wanted to give back to the world by making Kung Fu movies so that I could teach for free. And then when I couldn't teach, I could hire people to teach, if that makes sense. So that being said, I think this thing just died. No, it didn't. Okay. So I'm at 123 minutes, so that's like 2 hours and some change. I'm going to end this video now. But before I do, if you're from TikTok, thank you for coming. If you're from Instagram, thank you for coming. I want you guys to understand something. If you're paying to learn martial arts, the person that is teaching you needs to invest in you just as much as you're investing in them. And if they're not willing to do that, that's a fucking problem. Because $250 a month is not cheap. Especially when you're poor. $150 a month is not cheap. And there are schools that will charge you 3 times that for 1 month. Not alone 4 or 5 months. And you know, you have different programs that you can get into and stuff like that. But I didn't want to do any of that. I want to teach martial arts for free. And everybody's like, you can't teach martial arts for free. You can if you got the money. If you got the income, if you own the building, you can do whatever the fuck you want. And since my acting career hasn't taken off, that's not an option right now. But if I live long enough for that shit to happen, and that's what it's going to be. Because I know how it feels to be poor. I know how it feels to want to know something and do something so badly, but you can't because you don't have the finances for that shit. So just think, if my acting career takes off tomorrow and I get a job with Disney and I work for 5 years, the first 3 years, I can buy me a house and I can buy me a dojo. And I would love to do that. So if y'all can push me into Disney's realm, that would be great. But the thing is with martial arts, and a lot of martial artists, so I'm going to end this right now. we need to check our egos at the door. We are not always going to be right, and that includes me. But I know how to check my ego because I'm 48. It's not like I haven't checked myself before. But in any event, this is my YouTube channel, so I can say and do whatever the hell I want. But I want to be honest. If I'm going to teach you a martial art, I'm going to teach you the shit that works, not the movie shit, the real shit. Versus, I will teach you some moves that you can use in the movies because it's also real shit. That's a hypocritical thing, but it's the truth. The moves are real. It's just that I can't teach you when to use them. I can only teach you how. You're going to learn one way or another, by force or by course, when and when not to do a tornado kick, or a reverse tornado kick, or jumping spin kick, or a butterfly kick. And why did I name those four specific kicks? Well, the simple reason is this. They're aerials. If you're doing a wushu tournament, all those things are great. If you're fighting in the street, all those things are not great. Because you need to know when then you can pull that shit off. And I would tell people all the time, no, you want to tornado kick somebody, do it in sports karate or sports taekwondo. You out in the streets, you can get lucky, but what if you don't? You have to remember that what if you miss factor when it comes to a kick. If you miss, you got problems, and you need to be able to correct yourself. You need to be able to get your shit together so that you can not be fucked up. That being said, I hope I taught you something. I'm Echo Fan Grey Wolf. Be seeing you.